It's a nice cold morning here on Riggs Garage. Today we have a 2004 Honda Civic that's acting the fool. This video is intended for the 2001 through 2005 Honda Civic with 1.7 liter 4-cylinder engine. The video will also be useful to you if you need a thermostat. We're going to talk about diagnosing the thermostat, and if you need to replace the thermostat housing gasket or the coolant temperature sensor or sending unit. All those things are going to get covered in this video if you need to do any of those. Thanks for watching. If you find this video useful, hit that like button. It helps my videos get shown to new people. And subscribe to the Riggs Garage channel. Thank you. Alright, let's talk about diagnosing the thermostat to see if you need to replace the thermostat. A couple things that you will need to note. Number one, your heater might not work after a long time when you think it should work. That's a good indicator here in the winter times. Another indication would be erratic temperature gauge. When you think the car should be warm and it's still running pretty cold, perhaps your thermostat is stuck open. If it gets hotter than it should or overheats, then perhaps your thermostat is stuck closed. If you see that happening, shut your car down. Do not let it run hot. You will destroy it. Alright, so your temperature gauge was acting funky. The lower radiator hose here is connected to the thermostat. Feel that and compare it with the temperature of the upper radiator hose. This one will be hot, and likely this one will be a much cooler temperature if your thermostat is malfunctioning. Also, this video is going to apply if you have leaks around your thermostat housing. You'll need to do this thermostat job anyway, so you might as well throw a new thermostat in, especially if you have high miles on the car or the history of the car is unknown. Now we're going to drain the coolant. First thing I always do is take this cap off, because that's going to allow it to drain faster because it'll have airflow into the system. On this car, you'll have a drain petcock straight down there. You'll see there's an opening in the undercarriage valance. You see daylight through there? And the drain is right there. I will show you from the bottom. Urgh! You just reach your hand up there, and you'll feel it, and you'll just unscrew it. Oh God. We did it. It's so cold out here. Now if you like your neighborhood dogs and cats, definitely beware. This stuff is really bad for them. Try not to drip it anywhere if you can. If you do, use some shop dry or cat litter to clean that up. First thing I'm going to do is clear my workspace. We have a wire loom that's connected to the thermostat housing. This wire loom can be released just by pinching it with some pliers. Carefully now, this is old plastic. There we go. And then I'm going to unplug the coolant temperature sensor. Oh, it's all slick. Let's give it a wiggle. Now we're going to go to the two 10mm bolts. There's one. And there's two. Ooh. I'm using my 3/8 drive ratchet and a long 10mm socket. On this top bolt, I'm just going to come in from beneath here, and it lines up perfectly and gives me lots of room to ratchet, break it loose. There we go. Bottom one, break him loose. On the lower one, this bracket that held the wiring loom is going to come off with the bolt. Just kind of note the position that it went in. It's going to sit in the car like that. See the square hole here? I'm going to break it loose, pull it. Alright, here's an important time to look at this. You'll see the thermostat's right here. And note which side is poking outward, facing the radiator. Before I pull it out, I'm going to compare it to the new one here. I'm just going to show you so you know. This part is facing into the engine like this. This part is facing the hose going into the radiator. I'm just going to grab it with my pliers. And we're going to dump fluid everywhere. Here's the old one. Alright, both of them, here's the old one. Both of them have this little check valve here. I'm going to position that upward because it might help bleed the system, because the air, if there's air in the system, is going to be at the top of the coolant passage, so that might help burp the system more. So here's a new one. Diameter looks the same, which is really important. So I'll put this guy in. One other quick tip on buying a thermostat at the auto parts store. This happened to me this time and several other times. If you just go in and order a thermostat, always open up the box and check to make sure it has a gasket, because it seems like many times it doesn't. Including this. This gasket was separate, so you need to get that. It's like $1. Now I only want to do this job once, so I'm going to check both surfaces, the mating surfaces here, to make sure they are very smooth and are going to have a good seal. Now if you feel any roughness on here, it's a good time to clean them up. You can use sandpaper. I've got the Scotch-Brite pad here that really cleans up gasket surfaces well, so I'm just going to hit it real quick with that. There we go, nice and smooth. Now if you're watching this video because of this coolant temperature sensor, here it is right here. You'll just put a wrench on there and take it out. When you put a new one in, since this is a wet system, I would seal that with either a liquid thread sealant or Teflon tape. I like Teflon tape. It works very well on coolant systems. There we go. There is a groove that it sits right in, so getting this to line up with a camera in my hand is going to be interesting, so I'm probably going to go off camera now and just set this housing right over it, and it's straightforward from there. Got the top hole threaded in finger tight, and that holds the gasket in place. Now I'll put the 10mm in this bracket, and it will go on just like that. You don't want to do these very tight. I'll post the torque specs below, but it's a thermostat housing. I usually don't get too precise on these. It's not a spaceship. Good and snug. Don't crank on them with a long handle. You know, put your hand up here. Just get them tight. Now I'm going to clip in the wiring harness. Get pretty much set in place. Now the coolant temperature sensor. If you have a new one on here, congratulations, but no reason not to do it. Also remember to make sure your cooling fans are kicking on. Speaking of coolant temperature sensor. Alright guys, the next step is bleeding your coolant system. So check out my channel to see the video on how to bleed the air out of your cooling system, because that is absolutely critical in this thermostat job. So check that out. I'll post a link above. If this video is helpful, hit that like button and subscribe to Riggs Garage. Thanks for watching.